Hey guys, welcome back to this week's poll here on Comic Relief Cast. I am your host, Jake.
And I'm Josh. Hey Jake, got a quick question for you.
Oh, jeez, what?
What was your New Year's resolution?
I actually did not
What
have...
are we reading? Don't give a shit.
I was going to say, I wanted our listeners to know I'm perfect as is, and I don't need a resolution.
I second that notion.
You're welcome. All right, guys, so what we're doing this week, if you guys have listened to the Marvel one, check that one out if you haven't already. But what we're going to do is we're going to go over a few issues from this week, a little bit more higher profile. This does not mean we have read everything, and this is what we chose to concentrate on. We have not read everything this week. Lots of things have been coming up, so we decided to just kind of narrow our view onto a few of the issues people might be looking for. There's a lot of series that are going on right now that are well in, so I feel like you guys know whether or not you really want to pick those up. You know whether or not you're going to keep collecting them. These are the ones that people may or may not know if they want to keep collecting. They're not sure whether or not to jump on them. So with that, we're going to be going over Green Lantern number 3, Prodigy number 2, Martian Manhunter number 2, Criminal number 1, and Young Justice number 1, as well as Batman 62. Going right off the bat, Green Lantern number 3 by Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp. I'm really digging this series so far. Now, I mean, the first 2 issues I was a little lukewarm on. You know, it's Green Lantern, so I'm like, yeah, I'm going to stick with it. Green Lantern's my guy. But issue 3, I finally feel like, okay, now we're getting an idea of what the story is. This is a hard look at like a hard beat cop doing this thing just on a galactic scale. And this is actually what I found interesting, was that this issue actually kind of crossed over with what's going on with Superman right now with the Shrunken Earth and what Ray Palmer, the Atom, is doing with the Earth and stuff like that. But this character that you see on the cover, this godlike character, that is a very interesting angle to take it.
It's a very interesting angle, and I thought that this new character, I'm assuming it's new, I've never heard of him in the DC universe, is that actually really cool, interesting character.
It is.
And it's kind of a little edgy, like to kind of take that stance.
It is, but I also like the way that Morrison kind of plays this guy as like this kind of aloof character. But
yeah,
he knows exactly what he's doing. But he's kind of on the scale of like a Galactus type character, but a very different attitude for a Galactus type character.
Yeah, I actually, I don't want to say I enjoyed it more than Galactus because I love Galactus, but like I like this angle a little bit better than Galactus.
It's more interesting to read.
There's more story to it.
Well,
than
there's
just,
more character to it.
Like,
too.
oh, I'm just gonna eat this planet.
Right.
Thing,
There's kind of a likable quality to the character, but the other thing I like too is what Morrison is doing with the people of Earth on here. The predicament that the Earth is in and the way that people are reacting to this. I really like the commentary that Grant Morrison is kind of leaving on that. But I don't want to go too far into it. But this is easily the best issue of the 3 for Green Lantern for me.
I agree. Green Lantern was like the way it was going. I was really digging it so far. I like that it had this 1970s feel to it, and the artwork was very good to it. And I like the fact that it was just really just honing in on Hal Jordan being an intergalactic cop. And I feel like that's one thing that's been missing with some of the Green Lanterns as of recently.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to say before we give a rating and reveal, what I really liked about the end of this book is the way they leave it off with Hal Jordan. I'm going, okay, Grant Morrison's throwing a little bit of Training Day kind of feel into this book, and I think that's a really good comparison.
But with that being said, like, so the first couple of issues, I was kind of like, okay, I like this, but I don't know if I'm going to continue getting this book, because Green Lantern's never really been like a huge thing for me. But after reading this, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to be in for the long haul in this book, especially knowing what's to come by doing future orders and stuff. I'm going to be in for this.
Right, and I know some people, for some reason, their rule of thumb is 3 issues. I think after this 3rd issue, this is something that is going to pull you into this series.
You might go, okay, well, maybe 5.
For me, I'm a 5-issue guy. I go, usually 5 issues is enough to wrap up as a single arc, and that's kind of a good sign as to whether or not you're going to like the series as a whole. For me, this one pulled me in. I don't need my issue 5. Issue 3, I'm good. I know I'm in for this series. So I will unveil this week's episode's rating scale, and it is going to be Thought Topsies. And for this one, I'm going to give a 3.6 Thought Topsies.
I'm at 3.25 Thought Topsies.
All right, moving on to Prodigy number 2 by Mark Millar and Raphael Albuquerque. I'm going to go get over this one quick because Josh isn't going over this one. So if you guys have been paying attention, this is another Netflix-produced thing like the Magic Orders, also from Mark Millar. It's about this guy who can basically do anything. This issue is taking it a little bit further, but this one is really showing you where this is kind of how off the rails of reality this one's going. This one is way more sci-fi than I thought it was going to be, judging from the first issue, but I still like it. It's kind of reminds me of I can't think of the movie right now, but it's like high elitist, kind of like these highfalutin people, what they do for enjoyment, because they don't really get enjoyment out of the mundane everyday life things because they're just too rich. They need, more money, more excitement. And then our protagonist, the Prodigy character, what he's doing to unveil some like weird ancient secret. I actually really like it. It's definitely a different direction than I thought that it was going to go, judging by the first issue, but I still dug it. So I'm going to give it 2.8 Thought Topsies.
Okay, so I read Batman 62, mostly because I didn't want to really read Prodigy, for starters. And I was kind of curious to see where it was going after reading Batman 61. Batman 61 was a bad taste in my mouth. It felt more like a filler issue. 62 actually was pretty interesting. Visually, it was nice to see. They switched over to the artist, to Mitch Gerards from Mr. Miracle, Tom King. And it was really interesting to seeing that, and it was very pleasing to look at. The story just pretty much follows Batman captured by Professor Pig, and it's kind of, he's a little disillusional. But with that being said,
delusional or disillusional?
I don't know. I don't know. What,
delusional.
Yeah, he's delusional.
Okay.
Or disillusional. I don't know.
No, it's not the same thing.
Okay, no, it's not.
Okay.
But yeah, for the most part, this was an interesting read. It was kind of fun, but at the same time, it's kind of like get to the point. Tom King always has a hard time getting to the point, like I do with my reviews. And so, with that being said, I give this one a 2.8 Thought Topsies.
All right, moving on to Martian Manhunter #2 from Steve Orlando and Riley Rossmo. Now, if you guys remember the way we spoke about issue 1, we liked it, but the art was weird. We didn't really know where the story was going. This one it gives you a much better idea of what the story is that's being told. It's only a 12-issue maxi series. So, they've got to start getting to the point, and luckily Steve Orlando finally does start getting to the point in this book. I gotta say, everything to do with Mars, I am absolutely loving in this issue. All the Earth stuff I can kind of do without, but luckily in this one it's used sparingly. The majority of the focus is his life on Mars, but it's also giving you an idea where in the history of John Jones this kind of takes place. This is very early on when he first comes to Earth.
Yeah, okay, so Rossimo's artwork and when he's on Mars looks really good, but when they're on Earth, it kind of just feels very out of place. A lot like the X-Force #1. There's a time and a place for that art style, and then when they're on Earth, there's really that's not the time or place. But I do kind of dig the Earth stuff a little bit because, like what you said when we were reading it, it does kind of have this like slight Men in Black kind of feel to it.
It does, yeah.
And so that's kind of nice. But the Mars stuff is really nice. This one felt like it was easily not easily.
It was a lot more accessible in the first issue.
Yeah, the first issue, it was kind of a little all over the place, and you had a hard time understanding who was talking, what's going on here. This one, it answered questions. You got to the point. It wasn't that confusing. It was well organized the way it was going, and the story did pick up, and we know where it's going now, which in that it makes me like this book a lot more.
Me too. I mean, they dial back a lot of the telepathy talk. That's kind of a double talk over what's being verbally spoken. And what I really dug about the Mars stuff in this is there's a lot of world building. There's a lot of weird names and terminology being used, but if you can apply it to the way we speak to each other, it'll make sense. You don't really have to focus too much on what the names are, just an idea of what it's representative of. And I really, really like this issue. I'm really surprised at how much I like this issue, because the first one I wasn't all that hard up about. So this one, I'm gonna give this one 3.8 Thought Topsies, and that's actually where we get Thought Topsy from. 3.8. I really enjoyed that one.
That sucks. Okay, because I hate when me and you are on the same point. I was actually at 3. Well, I'm got 3.75, but I was really surprised because at one point while we were reading, the one thing that Jake really did not like was the artwork, and then he was like, "You know what? The artwork's starting to work with me now."
It is on Mars. The stuff
on Mars it looks
Earth,
great.
It's not working for me, but on the Mars stuff, I love it.
Yeah, 3.75, so close enough.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Criminal #1 by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Is the latest Brubaker and Phillips team up. They've done Fatale, they've done Fade Out, they've done countless other things. My Heroes Have Always Been Junkies are a really great team.
Yeah, the Winter Soldier.
Well, no, that was Steve Epting.
Yeah, Steve Epting. Still,
they're a great team, and I don't know. I can't speak highly enough about this book. So basically, what this is it's taking it back to the 80s, and this guy's kid steals this necklace, and he shouldn't have done it. It gets the dad in all sorts of trouble, and now he's got to pay back the debt. It feels very much like something like The Departed. It has that feel to it, but kind of set it in the 80s, and maybe not like Boston or New York Crime Boss, but maybe something a little bit more, not suburban, but just not metropolitan.
Yeah, the one thing that's really good about this too is like when you say it's like The Departed, the writing, which Brubaker always does a good job at writing, dialogue and everything. You feel like you're watching a movie to an extent.
Very
like
cinematic.
one thing is like I kind of wonder why he doesn't write screenplays because of how well he writes dialogue for comics. And it kind of does take you off to another place, and which is a great thing. You don't get that a lot from a lot of the writers nowadays. And the cool thing about this book, it is a big book.
It is,
and you don't really feel like you spend a lot of time on it. But the price on it is only $3.99, so you get a decent size number one with a great story. The art is visually, I like it.
I think it's great.
I think it's great to look at. And you get this great story, and it's big, and it's only $3.99.
Yeah, it's not bad. And one thing is that Brubaker does really well is he sets up mystery, he sets up intrigue, right? So you know that there's answers that are coming, but it doesn't set it up in a way that I feel like is jarring. I go, wait, what did I miss? I go, I know the answers are coming if I just keep reading. Yeah. It's just a very smooth read. And the other thing that I really love what Brubaker does, aside from us like great dialogue, what feels very real. That's what I like about it. It's very real dialogue. It feels like conversations that actually happen in real life. But the other thing that he does is he takes these protagonists, his main characters, on paper, they are not likable people. They're just kind of shitty, scum of the earth people. They're
By
not
the end of it, you start liking them.
Yeah, but despite all their faults and their shortcomings, yes, you like them, you're interested in them, you want to keep reading more.
Yeah.
I really like that. It looks like from the back of the book, from each cover, each issue might be about a different person. I'm not
a different criminal.
I'm not 100% on that because the guy on the cover of this is not the main character in the book, so I could be wrong about that, but this was my favorite read of the entire week so far. Again, we haven't read everything, but so far, this is my favorite read of the week. I'm going to give this one 4.4 Thought Topsies. I'm really excited about the series. If you guys look on our best and worst of 2018, this was on our 2019 Keep Your Eye On. I would definitely say we were on the money with that.
I'm going to give it 4.1. Another thing that Brubaker, I wanted to throw this in real quick. Another thing that Brubaker does that's really nice is a lot of writers, when it comes to filler stanzas, like filler panels between your moments of where you're going from like point A to point B, he makes it where you don't feel like it's filler at all. It just, like what you said, it's smooth.
Yeah, and you got to give it to Sean Phillips for that too.
Yeah.
I mean, he does a great job.
Yeah. 4.1 Thought Topsies.
All right, and the last issue that we're going over today is Young Justice by Brian Michael Bendis and I think it's Patrick Gleason or
Patrick Gleason.
Patrick Gleason. Okay, so basically what this is it's another Young Justice book with the release of the new Young Justice series on the new DC streaming app. DC smartly put out a Young Justice comic book that would kind of coincide. Now, it is not the same team. It's not the same story being told. It's not a companion piece in any way.
It's from the Young Justice comic, not the cartoon.
Exactly. So your lineup is Connor Kent. It's Tim Drake. It's Ginny Hex. Cassie is Wonder Girl. You got Bart Allen as Impulse, and a couple newcomers in this book. I gotta say, I don't think Bendis was the right writer for this. I really don't. I think that when his idea of writing for kids and younger adults, it's just not resonant anymore. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel authentic. It feels very fake and forced.
Yeah, especially after reading like the newest run of Teen Titans, you start realizing that this one's just not. It's not good. The dialogue doesn't really fit very well, and the way the team is met up and kind of teams back up feels very forced. Very forced. It's not like cleverly put, like compared to the Young Justice cartoon or the Young Justice comic or the latest Teen Titans. It feels very forced.
Yeah, it feels like Bendis is trying to recreate what he did for the New Avengers back in the early 2000s, which is how all these characters just kind of happen to team up by accident because of some threat, and they all just happen to be kind of in close proximity while that's happening. But when you got Bart Allen kind of narrating the idea that that's happening, and even what I want to say is almost an Alpha Flight reference, which I thought was kind of funny, it's still just not enough. It doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel like a real book. It does. I don't know. There's something about it that just feels very artificial to me. Aside from that, though, there are moments of enjoyment. There are things that I like, but the villains they're presenting in this book, I couldn't give two shits about. I just don't care about them. Bring back something, but it seems like Bendis is on this kick where he wants to create new characters, and as much as I can understand that, you got to make them interesting characters. You have to make them characters that I can differentiate who is who from, all the different characters on the panel. I didn't get that from this book, and unfortunately, Young Justice being one of my favorite animated series of all time, this book does not do that title justice, in my opinion.
See, I feel like, honestly, you can't compare Young Justice comics to the TV
No,
show.
but let's be honest. DC is going to be kind of relying on that title,
No,
the
totally.
Young Justice,
Totally,
just
right
the name.
now. Yeah, just right now. But yeah, when I see this and I see the lineup, I feel like it's supposed to be kind of like paying a little bit more homage to the ones from the early 2000s.
Right, and
Yeah.
I understand
which is
that,
completely different than Young Justice the cartoon.
it absolutely is. I'm just saying that it's no coincidence that the new Young Justice series comes out.
Oh, yeah.
And this book comes out. They want the congruency between those two titles.
Yeah, they're
And
pulling a
unfortunately,
Marvel.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit like that. So, I don't know. Any other feelings you had, Josh?
I mean, we're saying a lot of negatives, but there is a few good parts in this, and the artwork is good. I mean,
It's not bad.
I enjoyed the artwork at times, but dang, there's a few panels that I really did enjoy out of this. I'm kind of pumped about some of the characters that's in the team because I do like those characters. I will give this an issue, give it the 5 issues to kind of see where it goes, because I feel like this is just kind of like introducing the concept and maybe
Right.
it'll get somewhere. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, it wasn't once again like with our Marvel episode. If you listen to it, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at this like perhaps the same way as Martian Manhunter, right? I wasn't huge on issue 1, really liked issue 2. Who knows, issue 2 could come out of the gate here, come out swinging and make me really enjoy it. But as of now, this is not a great issue 1. It's not going to hook you in. It's not going to get you excited about anything that's coming up next. But I would say if you're going to pick it up, maybe stick with it for a couple issues, see how you feel, drop it if you feel the need to. But right now, it's not a must pick up in my opinion. I'm going to give this one 2.3 Thoughtopsies.
I'm at 2.6 Thoughtopsies. I will also say that there is some great variants for this of the character profiles. Some Yasmin Putri, Jimenez. Dallas, we miss you.
But yeah, I will say too, guys, in the back of Martian Manhunter, I forgot to mention, there is a preview of the new Bendis Naomi series. Now, again, Bendis has kind of not been great lately, so I can understand, but I will say, give a look at that preview at the end of that book. The art in it is absolutely exquisite. I absolutely love the art. Whether or not Bendis can still write these young characters, I'm really losing faith in it, but that did get my interest peaked a little bit for the Naomi series coming out.
Yeah, it does. The artwork and it looks great. And did you read it?
I did. I read it.
There's not enough meat on that bones to kind of judge out if the story's going to be good, but the art looks like it's going to be super pleasing.
Yeah, the dialogue is very jumbled, which is what Bendis has been doing a lot of lately.
He does it with Scarlet like real bad.
He does. All right, guys. Well, that is all we've got for you this week for the DC stuff. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, check out the Marvel episode that's on the site now. And if you also didn't check it out, the best and the worst of comic books of 2018 should also be up on the page as well, so definitely give that a listen whenever you get a chance. But we thank you so much for listening. Let us know in the comments below if you guys have picked any of these up so far. If you haven't, let us know if we have persuaded you one way or the other to pick it up or not pick it up. If you have read it, let us know your thoughts on it. And of course, like always, guys, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate all the things we've been getting, all the support we've been getting, and we want to say Happy New Year, welcome to 2019. Hopefully it's a great year for comics.
Yeah, I hope so.
Take care.